Hello, welcome to X Witness a Week. I am your host, Jonathan. I hope that you are doing well today. Have you asked yourself, why all the changes lately? Why does the truth change so much?
I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself.
There has been a long history of change throughout the organization's existence, and we will talk about that in a moment.
Don't sue me, bro.
So, of course, change is scary for some people. And that's going to be the case in Jehovah's Witnesses. There are going to be some who are hardliners that are not going to want to change. They're going to see this as something foreign, and this is not my religion.
You're changing, I can't stand it.
So the effect is going to be that some are going to dip out because they don't like what's going on with the religion, while others, of course, will embrace the changes, as many have throughout the years. Saw the changes that happen and just went, oh, well, you know what? That's Jehovah's organization. That's what the brothers tell us we need to do. Like now, there's people that believe that because slacks are allowed, that's what they have to do because the faithful slave said that, slacks and pants are okay for the ladies now, so that's all they're going to wear. Some might think that, oh, I can wear a beard now, I guess I should wear a beard. But that's not necessarily what they're going for. It's just the governing body basically taking something that's used to distract people. They have a need to keep people happy, to keep people in the seats. They have a need to distract from the real issues, and that's an easy way for them to do it, is to take something that's not really important. A grown man should be able to decide whether or not to wear facial hair, a woman to wear pants or not wear pants if she chooses, but here we are. So let's talk about some of the changes throughout the history of Jehovah's Witnesses, how things have been affected, and how different things are from when it first started to when it currently is. Whenever I hear the phrase "the truth," which I do use occasionally, it usually makes me cringe a little bit. It's just one of those things that doesn't seem to be true. The truth, the word truth, the concept of truth is something that is constant. The truth is the truth. The sky is blue. The sun rises in the morning and sets in the evening. There are certain things that are true. They are factual. The truth, referring to Jehovah's Witnesses, not so much. It is not something that's constant. It is something that seems to be in flux and has been ever since its inception, when it was the Bible student movement that was started by Charles Taze Russell. But why the constant changes to the religion? Well, it seems it's just sort of changing with the times, but it's more than that. Sometimes you have an ulterior motive to some changes that have happened throughout the years. For instance, we have the recent relaxing of the prohibition of beards, or the wearing of pants by the sisters. As far as the beards are concerned, the Bible students and Jehovah's Witnesses had wore beards without a problem, without any sort of restriction in the past. But it was really the personal feelings of Rutherford, who disliked the admiration that Russell received from the adherents. So he did away with that. He made it so that it was not something that you would do and you would be looked down socially. So people stopped wearing beards in the Jehovah's Witnesses religion. It used to be that pyramids were all the rage back when Russell started things, and eventually that was something that was stopped. It was abandoned in the early 1920s. Judge Rutherford put a stop to the teaching of pyramid inches and so on. It was just basically chucked out the door because, well, it was dumb anyway. But it was also something that was instituted by Charles Taze Russell. So, the popularity contest thing, he didn't want his teachings to be from the old regime, so he made up his new teachings to cement his rulership of the Jehovah's Witnesses at the time. Now, you may be familiar with a photograph that was taken at the Bethel home back in the 1920s that shows them all celebrating Christmas. So it was something that was allowed, but eventually that was thrown out as being pagan, and they wanted to be different. So in 1928, no more Christmas celebrations. In 1929, the Beth Serene Mansion was purchased in San Diego, California by Judge Rutherford as a place where the ancients would be able to hang out once they were resurrected shortly after that time. But of course, this never came to be. What was the reason for this mansion being purchased? Well, somebody has to look after it. And we're talking about a mansion after all. And Judge Rutherford was not shy about using it for his own personal enjoyment. Eventually, that was sold, as that teaching was thrown out, that the ancient Bible characters were going to come back and hang out at a mansion in California. There's also photographs and publications that show the use of the cross at one time, and eventually, in the early 1930s, you went from Jesus being executed on a cross to being on a torture stake. So it became this big deal that it was a pagan teaching that Jesus was crucified on a cross and he was on an upright stake. Did it really matter? No. But it became this big thing that separated the Jehovah's Witnesses from Christendom because they didn't use crosses. The prohibition of blood transfusions has been a huge thing for many decades, and many Jehovah's Witnesses have died because of this prohibition. Well, the first successful blood transfusion in the United States, Jehovah's Witnesses being a U.S.-centric religion for many years until they became more of a worldwide thing. So I'm going to use this example in the United States. Now, the first successful blood transfusion in the U.S. was by a Dr. Philip Drinker and Dr. Agnes Hughes in 1916 at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. Blood transfusions were outlawed by Jehovah's Witnesses in 1945, so they had been around and in use for 30 years. Everything was fine. Then suddenly it became an issue, and it was not fine. The technology improved during World War II, and right at the end of World War II, they said, nah, we're not going to allow that. And of course, as I mentioned, many people have died. It's been estimated that many thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses have lost their lives because they weren't allowed to use blood for emergency medical procedures and so on. Disfellowshipping, of course, is a huge thing. And in 1952, this was instituted. About 5 years prior, they were saying that it was unbiblical. But of course, this changed for some reason. They discovered it was a great tool for control. So in 1952, it started. As I understand it, in 1974, it was relaxed a little bit. It became harsh, but the policy was hardened again in 1981. And recently, in 2024, it's been slightly relaxed so that you can say hello again. So there's been all these changes throughout the years. Um, not to not to mention the various dates of the end of the world, which started, well, basically, in Bible times and um, in the first century. But what we're talking about here is Jehovah's Witnesses, of course, and so I'm not going to go through all the dates, but we know the basic ones about the 1870s, 1914, 1919, probably forgetting some, 1925, 1975, the year 2000. So there's been a huge list of end of the world scenarios that just never seemed to happen. So out of necessity, they had to change them. Now you have it's the last of the last days, and it's going to happen any second now, with an urgency on the preaching work for years that has kind of been reduced in a sense because you no longer have to report your time in the field ministry. You just have to check a box. It's a little weird. It doesn't seem particularly urgent to me when you do it that way, but I guess you could just say it's do your best and don't worry about it so much as far as the quantity, but it's the quality. I don't know what their thinking is on that. So, what's the point of this list of changes? And there's many more. If I listed everything that's ever changed, doctrine-wise or belief-wise, we'd be here forever. And I don't want this to be an enormous video. It all comes down to necessity, to rolling with the times. Judge Rutherford, he wanted something to gain something, so he made a change. Time ran out on world-ending predictions. They moved the goalpost. The overlapping generations that were presented by David Splain. Why? Because they ran out of time for the generation. So they had to come up with a new scenario that would work. As silly as it seems, but it was accepted. In the 1990s, they changed from selling publications to basically giving them out with a donation. Why? Was it because Jehovah was going to take care of everything? No, it's because they had to deal with the tax situation. The only way that they could get around it was to make it a donation basis. So everything that's happened has been because of a need to change, a need to gain financially, a need to gain in power, or to divert some sort of a disaster when it comes to their beliefs and teachings. And the whole thing with beards now and with field service time and with the relaxing of disfellowshipping and changes, it all comes down to motive and necessity. So what will we find in the future? We don't really know. I never would have thought that I would see a bunch of pantsuits at the meetings, nor did I think that I would see beards at the meetings in my lifetime, but here we are. But basically, it comes down to if the organization as it is wants to continue to exist, if the governing body is going to be able to have people still attend meetings and still believe, they have to make changes as the times change. Will they make changes that will make it a harmless religion at some point? I hope so. I've made it perfectly clear, and others have made it clear that we would love to see the organization just disappear entirely. Is that realistic? Probably not. They'll just keep making changes as they see fit to manipulate the situation and keep making money and keep getting people in the seats and keep children in, all these sort of things so that they can gain more power and keep things going as long as possible until everything just seems to run out. So we will just have to wait and see what the future is going to bring as far as all the changes that are going to happen. Hopefully, they will make changes that will benefit people rather than harm them, because they have ruined so many lives throughout the years, and something positive needs to happen. Life is short, and to spend it as a slave to the organization is not a good way to live your life. There are so many beautiful things in this world that people could experience if they were given the chance. And that is the kind of change that I would like to see for people, for them to be able to live their life to the fullest and to look back and not regret the time that they've lost to a high control religion. So that's all I have to say on that for today. Before I close out the video, I just want to say thank you to all the new people who have subscribed to the channel, and I hope to see more of you in the future. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. And as I mentioned in that last video, I would let people know if I received any word from my mom, and so far, nothing. I did communicate with my sisters about it, and she said that she might be open to future communication, but I'm just waiting to hear. So as of this moment, as of this recording, nothing from Mom. So, the memorial is come and gone, and I guess we'll see what happens. But for now, I'm going to hit the hay and then do some editing and get this out to you. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time. Oops. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye for now.